Greetings, class, and welcome to week 7. I'm going to do this tutorial on the week 7 lab. And so what you're given under laboratory, you have the week 7 lab data, the week 7 lab procedure, your simulation. So we are doing a simulation lab this week. This is your Dropbox where you put the information. This you won't even see that's hidden. That's for me. All right, so we're going to start with the procedure. All right, and so when you click on it, it will say Lab 8, but we have changed it to Lab 7. And we're doing visible spectrophotometry of nickel 2 chloride. And so go through, excuse me, the background information. Excuse me. All right, go through your background information, your learning goals, demonstrations, the process. All right. And so ignore this that says the pre-lab is in section D2L. That's no longer used, but it is all contained in this lab report information. All right, so we're working with spectrophotometry and we're looking at the amount of light that is absorbed by our nickel 2 chloride. That's our chemical that we're looking at. And we're looking at the different wavelengths and the absorbances that are given off because of it. And so this tells you, this chart right here gives you the different wavelengths, the color that is absorbed, and then the color that is observed, because whatever color is absorbed, it's the opposite on the spectra that you see with your visible eye. And so this gives you some more information about spectroscopy and Beer's law. There are a couple of helpful videos that'll help you understand a little bit more about spectroscopy. And anytime you have links to videos or links to websites that are in a Word document, you simply want to hit Control and then you click on the link and the link will pop right up for you. All right, and so down here gives you the instructions step by step on how to generate your absorption spectra. And so you're going to go to this simulation, okay? And so I'm going to bring up the simulation because I've already clicked on it. All right, and so we have concentration, we have Beer's law. This is what simulation we want to work with, okay? And so we're going to go back to the instructions. So I am going to, let me see if I can do them side by side here. Okay, there we go, so that we can see both. All right, so what we want to do, we have the Beer's Law simulation, and okay, so I've already clicked on Beer's Law, so we're going to move on down here. One thing I want to point out is what you have here. So your solution that you're using is your nickel 2 chloride. So you want that solution. This right here, where the green liquid is located, that's known as your cuvette. Okay. This is your light source. This will give you transmittance as well as absorbance. Down here, you can manipulate your concentrations. You can see how the change in the color depending on how concentrated it is. Okay, this is your ruler. You can move it so that you can measure the size of your, or the length of your cuvette. Okay, and so that's your cross section. You're going to measure the width of that. That's what you do with the ruler. All right, and so you're going to read through these instructions. And so you are looking at different changes in your wavelength and how that affects your absorbance, okay? And so right here is where you change your wavelength, okay? So it could either be preset or it could be variable, and you see how you can change your wavelength for that, all right? And so you want to set your wavelength to variable. Okay, skip to number 3, part B, and then you want to set your wavelength to 780 nanometers. And so we're going to go up to 780 nanometers. All right. And then it says um, how to set it. And then you want to set your meter to measure absorbance. Okay, we've done that. Switch on the light by pressing the button. Okay. And it gives you what your absorbance is. All right. Notice that the meter is measuring how much light passes through the cuvette when its sample of green nickel 2 chloride solution. Click on the module for the lab data. This is your Excel file, and you want to verify the absorbance value is obtained as 0.21. All right, so ours isn't, but probably because we have our concentration set wrong, which we do. So if you look at 3A, it says that the concentration should be 100 millimolar, and so we are too high. So we want to go to 100, okay? And we see absorbance is 0.21, all right? So your data sheet, let me show you. If we go here, okay? So where it says week 7 lab data, okay? That's your data sheet, okay? And it is here in Excel. In Excel, I have it set up so that when you enter the information in, it'll already fill in your table. I'm doing this to show you how to do tables and graphs in Excel because you will need this for Chem 2. So I want to make sure, and you also may need this for organic chemistry as well. So I want to make sure that you understand how to do this, okay? And so we have our wavelength at 780, and so we're going to put an absorbance of 0.21, okay? And that's what we saw when we looked here. Okay, so we had our 780 nanometers and our absorbance is 0.21. All right, then it says, okay, that you're going to switch on the light. We did that. Okay, the absorbance is a measure of the log of how much light gets through the sample compared to how much light was sent into the sample. And so this is the equation for that. All right. So I sub O, that's how much light was sent. I is the how much light gets through. Okay, and so the negative log of that is your absorbance, all right? And so you have, um, we want to decrease the wavelength now to 760. All right, so we can either use the arrow or we can just drag the site and we see that the absorbance is now 0.22. Okay, so zero point 0.2. So you get the hang of it. So you're filling in the table as you go through and do the instructions. All right, and so go through the instructions. Let me know if you have questions. Okay, so that's your first part where we're looking at how the absorbance changes with wavelength. Then you want to go to concentration absorbance and you look at the changes. Then you do your standard curve. Again, this is in that same Excel file. It's going to take you step by step through that. Very important when you're doing your lab report, okay, for this class. Here's the data sheet. So this is information that has to be included in your lab report. So very important that everything on this data sheet is included under the results section in your lab report. That includes the charts that you have, this chart that's here. All of that needs to be included in your results section. The other information that needs to be included in your results section is everything that is on this sheet, this Excel sheet, okay? And so what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that you incorporate this Excel sheet into your Word document. You can add an Excel sheet into your Word document. If you have questions on how to do that, let me know. Otherwise, what you could do one or two things. You can include this whole data sheet into your Word document, or you can copy and paste each of these charts and graphs once they are all completed. But all of that needs to be in your lab report. So if you have questions on how to do this, make sure that you let me know. All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.